Good afternoon, everyone. It's January 31st of 2025. So we have the first month in the can. Today, after the market roundup, we're going to talk about lifetime retirement income. Okay, lifetime income. If you want lifetime income from anywhere, you're going to get it from an annuity usually, barring a few things like Social Security and company pensions. Company pensions are essentially annuities, but in any case. Other than that, if you're getting lifetime income, you're going to get it from a life insurance company, usually. Uh, all guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company. What this means is if the insurance company goes out of business, your guarantee is gone. However, just to look back a few decades, according to the National Organization of Life and Health Insurance Guarantee Association, since 1991, 9 life insurance companies have declared bankruptcy, and 2 of them were in New York. According to FDIC.gov, since 2000, 570 banks have failed. Keep in mind, annuity companies do not have FDIC coverage like the banks do. All right, things all annuities have in common. Number one, they don't have FDIC insurance. Number two, they are a life insurance company product. And as I mentioned before, guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company. They usually have surrender penalties that are greater and longer than bank CDs. And those surrender penalties may or may not eat into the principal. Gains are taxed as ordinary income when they're withdrawn. They do not have the potentially favorable capital gains and dividend tax treatment of other investments. There may be IRS penalties over and above the aforementioned surrender charges if you cash out before 59 and a half. These are things to hold for the long term. They're not used for short-term needs. Annuity advantages may have guarantees that bank CDs don't, may have a higher long-term potential for growth. The gains, like realized capital gains, dividends, etc., are not taxed as long as the funds remain inside the annuity. And they almost always ask you to assign a beneficiary. So if something unfortunate happens to you, it goes exactly where you want it to go. Disadvantages, not a short-term investment. If you're saving up for money to buy that car next year, this is not the place to do it. It's not liquid, and early in the ownership of it, it's hard to access. There are usually substantial surrender penalties in the early years. And there are potential IRS penalties if you withdraw the money before 59 and a half. Every bit of gain gets taxed as ordinary income when you pull it out. Annuities in a qualified plan like an IRA, Roth IRA, or employer-sponsored retirement plans, they don't enjoy any additional tax advantages that annuities provide. And unlike other investments, there's no step up in basis on death. Single premium immediate annuities, which I will refer to as a SPIA from now on. This is the simplest one to explain. You hand the insurance company your money, your bag of money, and they promise to send you a guaranteed annual income for as long as you're alive. As long as you're alive, the checks keep coming in. The older you are when you start the contract, the greater the annual income. And there's a few options on these type of annuities. First of all, there's the life option. Gives you the largest annual check. If you live 2 years, the checks stop after 2 years. If you live 20 years, they stop after 20 years. Life with period certain. This usually has a 5, 10, or 20-year period. So if you get a life with period certain, as long as you're alive, you get paid no matter how long that is. But say, for instance, you have one with a 10-year period certain. If you die after 5 years, your heirs will get another 5 years worth of payments. But if you live 15 years, they'll get nothing when you die. Then there's life with refund of premium. This will pay as long as you're alive. If you die before the contract is paid out the amount deposited, the remainder will be paid to the heirs. So for instance, if you put a $100,000 annuity, $100,000 into one of these life with refund of premiums in, you start drawing 10 grand a year and die after 5 years, your heirs will get $50,000 in payments. If, however, you live 15 years and it's paid out 150, they will get nothing. And then there's joint life. This is for more than one person, usually a husband and a wife. As long as one of them's alive, then payments keep coming in. Okay, fixed annuities. These look a lot like bank CDs. They have no FDIC insurance. They usually have surrender penalties greater and longer than bank CDs, and it may or may not eat into the principal. They have low or no internal expenses. There's virtually no market risk. Then there are index annuities. Like all the others, no FDIC insurance. The surrender penalties also may or may not eat into the principal. They have low or no internal expenses. They're subject to some market risk. The annuities are linked, specified in the contract, to specific indexes like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, but there are no actual securities in the contract. There's usually a floor, which means, for a period, you can't go below this amount. And a ceiling, you can't go above this amount. Read your contract carefully. Okay, registered index linked annuities, which I'm going to call RILA from now on. No FDIC insurance, low or no internal expenses. The annuities are linked as specified in the contract, usually to specific indexes. The return at the end of the specified period will be based on the index it's linked to. Note there are no actual securities in this contract. There is market risk, but some of the risk is limited. Excuse me. Okay. Limited by the buffer stated in the contract from the insurance company. You can suffer losses in this type of annuity. If the buffer, say, for instance, is 10% and the index during that period is down 5%, you won't suffer any loss. If it's down 20%, the insurance company will absorb the first 10%, of the loss, and the contract will absorb the other 10%. So you'll walk away with 90% of what it was at the beginning of the period. So the potential of the loss in the contract is limited by the buffer in the contract. There's also a ceiling. So if the associated index exceeds the ceiling, the contract will only get the ceiling rate of return. So suppose the same contract has a ceiling of 12%. If your index is up 7% for the period, the contract will gain 7%. If it's up 20%, the contract will gain 12%. Variable annuities. The fees are the highest for any type of annuity. The market risk is dependent on investments in subaccounts. It is possible to suffer losses in a variable annuity. They also have the largest potential for gain or losses of any type of annuity. Note there are actual securities in this contract. There are riders which may mitigate some of the risks, like return of premium. Basically, if you hold it for a certain specified period of time and it does poorly at the end of that period of time, they'll give you all your money back. Living benefits. This is where, like the SPIA, you can get a certain amount of income guaranteed. Again, it's subject to terms and conditions. It's critical to examine your contract and review it on a regular basis, but it does have a lot of moving parts. Check with your agent prior to taking action on your variable annuity. SPIA is for those desiring a fixed annual income for life. Fixed annuity for those who are risk averse, not needing the money in the short term. The index annuity are for folks with some risk aversion, but do not need the money in the short order. The RILA is for those with little risk aversion, but not wanting to pay expenses, but do not need the money in the short term. And variable annuities are for those who wish to participate in the market, possibly access living benefits or some guarantees, and again, don't need the money in the short term. An annuity as part of a financial plan may or may not be a suitable investment for an individual. They're not the right fit for every person or situation. They're long-term investments. They have fees and expenses that will affect the rate of return. All annuities require a person helping you get into it to have an insurance license. And with the exception of SPIAs and fixed annuities, a securities license is usually required to sell the others. Once you graduate, be it from welding school, engineering school, or law school, you're going to need a different plan for each of these stages that's tailored to your individual situation during your working years. Am I saving enough and is it in the right place? Glide path to retirement, last 10 years prior to retirement. Will the USS retirement be shipshape on the appointed day? Retirement, how do I avoid running out of money before I run out of life? And finally, legacy. Does what I worked hard for get to where I wanted it to after I'm done with retirement? I do in-person Zoom and phone appointments. I am licensed and registered across several states and can easily add states if there's a need. If you'd like to schedule an appointment, you can click on the schedule an appointment button in the upper right-hand corner of my website. Want to see more videos like this? Go to my YouTube channel. It's the red button. If your friends want more information, then follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. For those who prefer the telephone, 518-631-2569. Do not text that number. You will be sad because I won't get it, and I'll be sad because I won't get it. Material contains only general descriptions, not a solicitation to sell any insurance product or security, nor is it intended as financial or tax advice. For information about specific insurance needs or situations, contact your insurance agent. Articles intended to assist in educating you about insurance generally and not to provide personal service. May not take into account your personal characteristics such as budget, assets, risk tolerance, family situation, or activities which may affect the type of insurance that will be right for you. In addition, state insurance laws and underwriting rules may affect available coverage and its cost. If you want more information or would like personal advice, consult an insurance professional. You may also visit your state's insurance department for more information, riders or additional guarantee options that are available to an annuity or life insurance contract holder. While some riders are part of the existing contract, many others carry additional fees, charges, and restrictions, and the policyholder should review their contract carefully before purchasing. Guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Opinions voiced in this material are for general information only, not intended to provide specific advice or for any individual. All performance references historical, no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested directly. All data is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no representation is made as to its completeness or accuracy. None of this is to be construed as tax or legal advice. Consult your advisor prior to taking any action. Unmanaged index returns do not reflect fees, expenses, sales charges. Index performance not indicative of the performance of any investment. Investing in stock includes numerous. All right, everybody, have a nice day.